guys, Tracy here, aka Nana Tazzy. I thought today I would do a flip through of my second ever art journal. I know I meant to do that like a month ago, and yeah, I've been crazy busy. But before we get too terribly far, this is about 1.5 of these mixed media, Canson mixed media art journals worth of paper. I put 2 books together, and I used the, maybe not quite half, but yeah, it's equal to about 1.5 journals worth of paper. So I wanted to make sure that was understood before we got going. Also, I got really frustrated and annoyed with the ring bound thing after going from, my first art journal, which was a composition notebook, but working with just the pages together, you know, like this. I had a really tough time with going from that to this one with the gap from the ring bound. Also, I had an issue with when I started the second one. In most of this book, they're 2-page spreads, right? They make 2 pages, that's the whole piece. When I went to this style of art journal or book, I tried doing like one piece like this, and then I'd flip the page. Actually, that would have been here. That would have been the next one. And that would have been the next one, like that. When I put the book together, there were gaps in between these pages that I put in, and I'll show you some of the dates. That's why this doesn't make much sense. This page was done April 2016. This page, no, that was done right after. Okay, hang on. This one was done in May. So this was blank when I put the book together with these pages were already done, right? And then this was blank, and then I did that in May as well. So these were done, and then I went back and started doing the in-between pages. But I had started trying to do single pages, just to see if I like doing it that way or not, and honestly, I'm not a big fan. I mean, they look fine, but I like great big books. This, after doing this one, I had several that I used as scribble books, but this is why I decided to make one this big. This is the same style of paper. Actually, it's not. It's a watercolor paper. It's still Canson, but it's their 140-pound cold-pressed watercolor paper. And I need to make it a cover because it is banged up and nasty from just being thrown everywhere. But working this big, oh, I love it. It takes a lot longer to get anything finished, and you know, I have videos on some of these. But even quick ones like this one, this didn't take very long to do. It's mostly ink sprays. But it takes, because there is so much real estate, it takes a lot longer for the whole thing to dry. It takes a lot longer for, like this piece. I got videos for these, what was it, 7-part video to get all of this done. I mean, that's crazy big. But when I get this done, I'm going to try and go back to something in between this one and this one. And I'm probably going to have to make it I'm looking for, always on the hunt for the perfect size mixed media art journal. Something I can really just make a mess, have all sorts of wet medium in, and like this. This is cheesecloth here. This was all wet and painty and just a mess for days. But yeah, I need to make sure that whatever size I get, it still takes a whooping. Okay, let's do this one. So, that was my first one. And as promised, I have done a flip through of it, and I'll probably link it to this one. And yeah, I meant to get to the second one much sooner than I have, but, well, life happens, doesn't it? Alrighty. This is still from April 2016, like right on the heels, I think halfway through that one, through my first one, I got the big one, and I played back and forth between the two for the most part. And apparently I finished it in October of 2016, so we'll see. I used, what is that? No, actually I think that's the heavy duty PVA glue. After I took the spine, the ring bound bit, I just tore it out and glued just this part all the way down, and that part is held. This is not going anywhere. I tacked these in just for peace of mind in case it started to fall apart. What I didn't take into account, these this book has perforated edges here, so you can tear your art out if you want to. This has become an issue. Some of these pages are already separating from this part. So even though this is glued together and isn't going anywhere, it's seriously, it's solid. What I'm going to have to do is tear these out, because they're coming out anyway. See, all the way down here now. But I'm going to have to take all this out, and since they're back-to-back artworks, I think I'm going to have to just punch them and do them in a binder, or do like Shannon Green's loose leaf binding, which basically is this still, but do it on the actual pages themselves. So I didn't take that into account. I probably should have taped them or something, but I was still very, very new. I only started art journaling in April. So yeah, I had no idea. I still don't really have any idea. I'm still winging it and learning all the time. But this is my second art journal, and once again, I don't do the covers until the book is finished usually. I don't know why. And with this one, I'm probably going to have to pull it all out and make different covers anyway. And this will either be decorated then and the first page of the binder, or I will keep it and recycle it or upcycle it for something else, because these covers, oh my god, they're amazing. They're super sturdy, and I beat this one to crap, and it's still fine, save for this corner that I peeled, which is a nervous habit for me. But okay, I'm going to show you these, I think, sideways. Let's see. No, we'll just make a long video. Okay. I'll try and remember which way is up, though, which hopefully this will help. Okay. This was tissue paper. First time I'd used tissue paper as a background, and the texture was amazing, and this was way too much fun. Yeah, a lot of the bits got covered up, so this was before I really had layering figured out. I really had an issue with layering for a very, very long time. I understood how it worked, but I couldn't make, I still cannot really make what I see in my head. There's still a huge gap there. I'm getting better than I was, but yeah, it still takes some doing. This one, and remember, these were like, this one was done and this one was done, and then the book was put together. So this one I went back on in May. This one I was having a really crappy day, serious case of stick it to the man neosis, and this is fabric paint, all this black, and I just did this big huge just blobs of it, and got it all to where it was one, and smashed the book together. And it took some doing, because this fabric paint is really crazy thick, so I had to really peel it off real slow. But what I ended up with, and I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see, there is texture on here that you can just, it stands up really tall, like above the texture I did through the stencil. This is crazy, and I don't know if you'll be able to get an artistic shot or not, but I am hoping you can see it, because those veins in there that made from pulling that apart, crazy deep. So as far as feeling this page, it's very senses, hands-on, happy. It's really good. But yeah, I thought I'd do the funny ink blot test thing, and it says tell me what you see. How does that make you feel? Which anybody who've been to particular types of doctors, shall we say, will probably get a chuckle out of this one. Other people not so much, but it made me feel better, which is the whole point of the art journal, I've decided. Okay. Life is good today. This is when I first started with my the neon, small, I think it's Artist's Touch, does those paints from Hobby Lobby. The neon ones, they're in small tubes, which is unfortunate, because I could use massive tubes of the neons. I love it so much. It's great to work with. It just feels really good. It's not heavy bodied, but it's pretty stout. But yeah, this page I like it a lot. And I was trying more with the layers and stencils, but this was the first page I really fell in love with splatter. Just taking, you know, white paint and just flicking it everywhere. That's where my love affair came from for that, this page here. And I think I went back on some of the other ones in the first journal and started doing more of that. Can't remember now. This one was way more work than it was worth, I think, and I don't really care for it. I mean, it's okay. I like the flowers. I like, you know, the way the words are done. I like the little stuck-on colored sequins and stuff. That's fun. I like the parts of the background, and you really have to get up close to see it, but you can still see the words from the dictionary papers and stuff underneath. But again, it doesn't all work together, which I'm still trying to figure out how to do. But there are chunks of that I do like. And these flowers, I love to doodle these. They are so pretty and so easy that anybody can do these flowers, which is why you'll see them throughout my work, because they're the ones I come back to again and again and again. They're just doodly. Those and these ones here, the little 5-petal flowers, which sometimes end up with 6 petals. I don't know. But yeah, I love these. This was an art therapy piece I was trying to work on, but this is her spirit animal or guide or whatever. And the background, I did her. This is how this one started. I did her, and I was so pleased with how she came out, because at this particular time I would still tell you I can't draw. Now I will tell you I pretend to draw, or I try to draw, or I'm working on it. Whereas this, back when I did this, can't draw, can't do it. Which obviously I can. I'm just not as good at it as I'd like to be, which is where most of us go wrong. Because we say we can't draw. We get that in our head that we can't draw, so we stop trying. Go back to when you were a small child and you didn't care if you could draw or not. You were too busy doodling and drawing and making things fabulous. Go back to that. Be a kid again with all of this. Don't sweat it. But I'd got her done. And then I realized I didn't know what else to do with all this real estate. I cannot remember where the Phoenix... I think that was, I didn't sleep for a while one night, and it just, she needed a spirit guide, spirit animal, if it were. And for some reason, the Phoenix had come to me. So, I was like, well, crap, I don't know how to draw a Phoenix. So I found, you know, thousands of Google images and gave up even looking and was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to wing it. So I did. So I got the Phoenix drawn, not colored, drawn. So I had her done, and I had this Phoenix. And I was terrified of coloring it or painting it or doing anything with it because I didn't want to mess her up. And I didn't want to mess up the Phoenix, which I kind of like. He turned out pretty cool. So he's my fire chicken. I finally took the plunge, got him all colored, and it was awesome. And these are actually watercolor pencils. And just layers and layers of blended watercolor pencils. And I still have not put any water on there or in her hair. I can't bring myself to do it. I can't do it. I love how this feels, and I really do like how it looks, even though I can see lines and all of that in there. This is how it'll stay. So I had her done, I had the Phoenix done, and then I was panicking because I didn't have anything in the background done. So I didn't know what to do. I was going to leave it, honestly. I was just going to leave it, walk away, be done with it. But then I tried, I threw down some PVA glue just in little things like this. Let it dry. And then very gently took watercolor crayons and just filled in small bits around and just wet those. And yeah, it did its own background without me having to do too much or messing up the two pieces I already did. And I added this as an afterthought, and it's still not finished. I was over it at this point. But yeah, try new things. Seriously, you will amaze yourself. And if it didn't come out the way you thought it should, at least you gave it a go. Just keep doing that. Keep giving it a go. Okay, this one. Let's see. No, those were the same book, and I put them in so they're opposite each other. True Love Cannot Be Broken. And I gotta finish this. I haven't... I was working on learning layers still, and I'd seen those, the circles turn into bubble looking things everywhere, and yeah, I still need to practice those. I haven't done them in forever. But this page is okay. It's not... If I did this page over, it's not where I would want for it to end up. But for where I was a year ago, this is awesome. I will take it. This page, I am stupid pleased with. It came from Tamara Laporte's Art, Heart, and Healing. It's a free course that she does, and I will put the link in the description. But this one and the section I've got tied off here, because I'm not ready to share this yet so much. And I need to check with Tamara that I can share those eventually anyway. But at the moment, I'm not ready to share those. So they're in their own section. And when you do the course, you're supposed to alter a children's book, which funnily enough, back then, I couldn't bring myself to doing. I could not, outside of dictionary paper from one of my crazy old dictionaries that has literally fallen apart and almost explodes every time you touch it, which has been replaced, so it's not the one that we're using or anything anyway. Outside of that, when I started this course, I could not tear apart books. Couldn't do it. Now I got them all the time, and part of my soul just cringes each time because I love to write, I love to read, and they're books. Books are sacred. But I figured out a loophole there, and if I get them from the thrift store, I see it as giving them new life, because I keep the center of the book and I use the cover. So I still have center of the book that I can read, and I can use the cover and upcycle it to make new journals and like this one. But so yeah, we repurpose the covers and I keep all the books. So I have currently a box of book guts that I'm collecting, so I can sit and read them eventually. Okay, moving on. Yeah, the link for that I'll put in the description. But this course, honestly, it's free. I strongly recommend that you do it. Tamara is a fantastic teacher. For those of us that have for years told ourselves that we can't draw, the way she explains things to you and just communicates to you. She doesn't make you feel like you're an idiot because you don't know how to draw. She's all about empathy. If there's one word that would describe, well, you can't use just one word. She's amazing. She's kind and compassionate, and her empathy for everybody on the planet just amazes me. But I will stick that in there and strongly recommend. And if you do take that course, please get back to me and let me know how you liked it, because I thought it was outstanding, but I might be impartial. I don't know. I like touchy-feely stuff that helps personal growth, that feeds personal growth and awareness. That's kind of my thing there. I love it. Okay, this piece is, well, it's a train wreck, really, and so not what it should be. I was watching, what was I watching? I think it was Marta on Maremi's Small Art on YouTube, and she was doing all her fancy stuff, and I didn't have any of the stuff that she was using, like, at all. I didn't have any of that stuff. So my texture paste is, you know, wallpaper patch, because that's what I had, and my ink is homemade gel ink sprays, which didn't work at all with what I was using because all my mediums were wrong. And I didn't finish doing the center part like she did. She did a gorgeous, gorgeous piece, but I didn't have the stuff to make it look the same, which was fine. I knew that. What I did have, I decided to play with to get the general idea of how the pieces that she makes are put together. And oh, she makes gorgeous, gorgeous pages. Actually, I'll have to, if I remember, I'll link her channel as well, because she's amazing, and her accent is awesome. She's just a sweetheart. But yeah, check out Marta's channel as well. But yeah, so I apologize, Marta. This is not anywhere near what you were doing, but I was very new to it, and I gave it a go, so I will take that. And as far as texture goes, I love the feel of it. This is all leathery feeling, even though it's just, I think that's distress paint, no, distress stain over acrylic paints. See, it's got this weird, almost leather, but not feel to it on these parts. And then, yeah, you take your texture paste and you run a comb through it, a plastic hair comb, and yeah, it feels amazing. So as far as that goes, I'm calling it a win. I tried something new. And I'm hoping my light's not too terrible for you, but it says happiness is coffee and a good book. And I was playing with just thinning out paint so you could see writing behind there of the dictionary papers. And I didn't realize at the time, I was so into it, I didn't realize till I flipped back looking for a blank page later, because I'd started with a coffee cup. I drew the book after that. The rest of this was an afterthought. But where I drew the book, if that was real, that coffee cup would have thrown itself off the book, off the table, and onto the floor, and that would just be sad. So that wouldn't be happiness at all. But yeah, I didn't even notice this at the time, which is odd. This page, this background here, this was extra paint of, I don't remember what original piece I did. But it's the cling wrap. You put down your paint, so I did it in 2 or 3 different blues, and you put cling wrap on it, and you scrunch it and move it, and then peel it off. I guess some people let it dry and then peel it off. I never do that. I don't have patience for that. I don't. So I peel it off, but I had so much paint left on my cling wrap, I didn't want to waste it. I am all about saving the paint. So I just stuffed it on the nearest page, which was this one, with no plan whatsoever. I came back later after all this was dry, and this is a lotus blossoming thing that I'd been doodling and practicing, which I like. I need to get back into doing these because there's something really peaceful about drawing this shape. It's real simple, but it's really peaceful just to draw, you know. So I had that and stuck it on, and at the time, I think most of this book is full of quotes, or not so much quotes, or sayings, words that bring feeling or thought, or that kind of thing. It was my understanding that that's what art journaling was. It's become so much more than that for me. But this is what spoke to me after I get this stuck on this background. Peace, balance, harmony. Which are things I'm always shooting for every day. This was experimental. This was a baby wipe from cleaning off brushes and hands and smearing all this around, which I've since destroyed. And my book's coming apart. Man, that sucks. But it was all stained up, and the purples and reds were all in here just so. Where I went wrong is I covered this page with, what did I cover it with? It's not glue. Maybe it's glue. Oh, I think it is. It's Mod Podge because it's making a funky plastic feel on these. But these are paint chips that you get at, I don't know, Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever. Because these colors, I love these colors, and I want to do, like, stuff everywhere, all inside the house with these colors. Probably won't, but I love them anyway. Yeah, so I was just messing around with background. I had this, I stuck it in there. I don't even know why. It's very specific, the way this was stuck in, it seems. But I don't know why. But yeah, then these went over top and used Mod Podge to glue it down. I think that was before I knew what matte gel medium was all about too, because for everything else I used PVA glue or Mod Podge. I didn't fall in love with matte gel medium until sometime later, and oh my god, I love that. This was a photo inspired by a photograph I saw on Instagram, and I will most likely not really ever do this again. I'm all about never say never, but if you have carpal tunnel or wrist issues, don't attempt anything with these tiny dots, because there are so many layers of them, and you go back with the next color and the next color, and it's not worth the pain that this one brings. At least it wasn't for me. Maybe you can get better flowers. But the photo that I saw, it was some background hedge and little funky, there were roses and some other flower mixed in. Was the long bush in the front. But the wisteria hanging down for the entire photograph, it was absolutely gorgeous, and I love wisteria anyway. But yeah, I thought, you know what, I should try painting. I mean, it's not going to be lifelike or anything, obviously. I just wanted the idea and the feel of it, and I can look at this and go, oh yeah, I remember that, that was cool. And it was also a pain in the wrist, so I at least have that. I gave it a go. I'm glad that I did. Let's try an abstract art stuff, and I don't know if it's cheating or not. I felt like it was cheating, but I was curious to see. how it would look. But this is all these the lines I've got in here is PVA glue straight out of the bottle, just willy-nilly. The background was painted black, didn't know what to do with it, and just put glue on it. Then I came back and did other bits, and I really like, for an accidental page, I love this. And I should probably get back into more abstract stuff because it's fun, but it's really challenging because you end up, at least I do, you sit and stare at it way longer than you do, like you put a little bit in a thing and then you sit and you stare at it some more and wait until it talks to you. And like, not like a crazy person, but it will talk to you. You'll feel that, well, it needs a bit here and here. And it's like, okay, cool. And it's like, well, no, maybe some here. That's better. And you just do that. And it all comes together. So when you finally look at it, it's like, nice, it's done. And you can walk away without any, oh, maybe I should have done that, or maybe I should have done that. I wouldn't do this any differently today than I did a year ago. So that's fun. Being from Australia, I have a fondness for Aboriginal art. And I can't remember what triggered me that day, but I remember seeing, we've got berries back home that grow on this bush, and I cannot for the life of me remember what they're called right now, naturally. I believe they're poisonous too. You don't actually eat them, but Australian Aboriginals, they'll chew on it, put their hand on a wall, and spit the color from the berry all over. But what it does is stain the rock, and they've been doing this for eons. You can still see people from forever ago. That's where they've come through in certain areas, and they were there. You can see they were there. But something triggered me that I can't remember what set that off. But that way of marking your space, I was here, that really spoke to me. So I thought obviously I didn't chew up paint and spit it out, but what I did was took my gel, the Wilson food gel homemade spray that I'd made, and yet my hand was bright pink because I don't wear gloves and I haven't got the silicone glove stuff. I really should probably invest in buckets of it, but I don't. I'm always stained. I've been playing with stuff, so I've got to clean out my nails again. Can't even grow fingernails. But yeah, bright pink. I was here. You know when you see something, you think, man, that'd be funny. Well, this is one of those pieces. Because I was flipping through no, it wasn't a magazine. That was one of my Cold Steel. Is it Cold Steel? One of the catalogs I get in the mail for knives and swords and that kind of thing, because I love to throw knives. Yeah, actually, the Mr. and I both are into that kind of thing. But Steve Austin, they've got him advertising some type of knife. Or maybe it's a wash. Anyway, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I cut him out, stuck him on the page, and then just did all the sprays as wild, crazy hair. How funny is that? Like, seriously. I thought it was funny. I put it on, I think I put that one on Instagram, and yeah, nobody found it amusing at all. Which, whatever. I had a chuckle. This is one of my all-time favorite pieces ever, 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 ever. And this is what happens when we get new stencils, because, yeah, you have to use them in so many layers, it's ridiculous. But I called this one Cogs in the Machine. This silhouette I cut out of, I think it was a fitness magazine. Yeah, I think it was a fitness magazine for clothes workout clothes and stuff. But yeah, I used it as a mask after I did layers and layers and layers. I had new stencils, or stamps, new stamps, Visa stamps, and then the cog. It's just a small stencil, but oh my god, this brought me great happiness. And yet it's so many layers, it's ridiculous, but I love it. Let's see, this one. I do not like this page. I like the flower. Nature never did betray the heart that loved her. William Wordsworth. I'd come across that somewhere. Maybe it was on Instagram. I don't know. But, yeah, I thought that'd be good. I am pleased that my layering was getting better. But the color choices, I think, is where I went wrong with this one. Or why I don't like it so much. It just, I like individual pieces and areas, but I don't like it as a whole, if that makes any sense. This piece looks all bright and cheery and something, but it's actually full of, it's an art therapy piece that I haven't had to come back to for some time now, but when I started this piece, it's got a lot of writing and journaling behind it. And then it's got all the fluorescent and all the doodles. And it's got all sorts of really just not awesome words I've been called, or stuff that stuck to me that's not mine to carry. So it's layers of horrible things and painted over, or a couple more coats, and then add more to it. So my plan is layer and layer and layer, and each time I do this, each layer, just let more of it go. Just that's not who I am. I get to decide who I am, and nothing I've been told or called or any way that I've been treated matters. Well, it matters, but I get to call the shots for my person. Do you know what I mean? Anyhow, I don't want to get into that today, because I end up pissed off and sad for people that haven't yet figured out how to let that stuff go, or how to do it in a positive way, I guess. So yeah, if I could teach everybody to art journal, I totally would. This became one of my favorite background techniques, and you just squirt paint on the top of the page in a couple colors, and drag your hand down, and you just do that until it's where you want it. And I'd start with colors and then add some gesso, just squeeze it on there, and then just let it blend on the way down the page. And yeah, I love it. And again, it's the PVA white school glue, just in random shapes and patterns with no particular plan, and then the paint drug over the top of it. Oh, this is just, oh, that's right, I have all sorts of things written in here, but strength, honor, courage, wisdom, temperance, fortitude, and yeah, just working with background and doodles. This was more of an exercise in doodles. Now, the funny part about this page, and once I tell you, you won't be able to unsee it. At least I can't unsee it now. These, oh, knocking stuff over. These chunks here with this specific pattern here, those are napkin scraps, where you peel the backing off and stick it down, and they feel amazing. But what I didn't notice was the way the pattern sits. When I got this piece that I'm about to show you torn off, or when I got it stuck on, I just left it long, so it was hanging off the page. And I came back later and trimmed it, which left this. Now, I don't know about you, but when I came back flipping through the book, I realized that looks like a butt with a skinny waist and like fancy underwear, right? Bum cheeks, underpants, skinny waist. Now you can't unsee it either. You're welcome. But yeah, didn't even think about it, didn't notice, nothing. It was crazy. Oh, this, I was getting over that next layer of crap that I was trying to work through from previous relationships and life stuff, and finding my get up and go again. That, and I love to draw flames, so what better excuse to draw flames than make it her hair. And this again is watercolor pencils. I do not have the heart to wet this. I don't want to blend it. I didn't even finish like her face, you know. I don't have any details, nothing. I just walked away because that was cool. But yeah, drawing flames, also very therapeutic. It's the same. It's the repetition, I think, in particular shapes that really is healing. And I think that's why they use it in a lot of the Celtic healing wheels. I don't know if you've seen those or not. And they've got gorgeous, gorgeous printed images, and you just take, well, you can use anything, I guess, but take a stick or a pen or a paddle pop stick, or and you just, it's in the Celtic designs with the big knots and swirly stuff and whatever, but you would follow the line, not necessarily draw on it, but you would follow the line over and over, and by doing so, you just focus on what you're doing. And because the Celtic pieces are big, big knots, they just go around and around, and the next layer goes around and around. It's very healing, and certain designs help your brain in different ways. And I cannot remember what they call that, but if I find it, I will put a link in the description, because it is amazingly cool for stress, anxiety, oh, so many other issues. So many other issues. Okay. Oh, this was a page, I hated the background. I can't remember why. But it layers and layers and layers. I didn't know when to stop. And then, what had happened? Something had happened, and I got all pissed off, and took some black ink and gesso, and I made lines like so. This is how I figured out how to do these. And take your hand and just swipe that all the way down, and then use your fingers to do this nonsense, right? And you've got instant wings. I love them. Don't care for the rest of the page, or her even. Yeah, but the wings, this style of wing, this is the first time I'd ever done it, and I will probably do it forever, because stupid easy, anybody can do it. And yeah, I really love the way they feel to make them. You know, it's like, hey, I'm actually doing something. It doesn't have to be all in detail or lifelike or anything. It doesn't matter. But you can tell wings. Should be able to tell wings. If not, I figure that's not on me. Art is about doing for me, and then sending it out there, or chucking it in a book where it may never be seen again. Who knows? This was the rest of the Art, Heart, and Healing. And again, this would have been, I was so excited to get started. I didn't keep a section just for this, so it was all in one. Which if I ever take it again, which I might do, yeah, I'll do it, as she said, in an altered children's book. I need to do the pattern, or do there's a poem or a song or something that from the beginning of the lessons that she does, and I want to print that out or write it out here. But yeah, it becomes your soul journey book, and there's some epic, epic healing exercises in it. And she teaches you to destroy photos. One, finding a photo of myself was ridiculous, because I'm usually the one taking pictures. Two, and she addresses this, we were all told, you know, you handle photographs just so, and you never touch them, and if they get scratched, you've just destroyed the photograph. So we still have this, a lot of us, where it's like, oh no, I've wrecked it, and whatever. But she has us sanding off half of the photograph and staining and painting and scratching on it, and it's like, oh my god. So yeah, you get over it though. When it's done, it's like, oh no, I get it, that's cool. And I really think that would be a cool way to do, you know, we've got a picture of this and we didn't quite get it cropped or trimmed just so there's a whole bunch of wasted space that doesn't really mean anything. So you could have this much of your photo and the rest of it, you know, you do this stuff and then you could write on it and do whatever. So that totally makes sense now. But when I first did this, I almost had a panic attack. And I'm hoping to share this stuff with you someday, but that day is not today. Okay. Well, this was a shitty day. There's so many layers on her. She's got her own texture from previous layers of swirl and paint. And I like this. This came out kind of cool. But yeah, I was mad. I was on the phone. Or several phone calls that just weren't good. And the last call that I was on the phone, I just started doodling and stuff, which is where this came from. And then I spent the rest of the night just with ink and gesso and a little bit of paint and just layer and layer and layer and layer. And let's see, the fire inside her burns brighter than the fire around her. It's the only thing that made this better. Was like, no, I got it. I got it. We can get through anything. We just got to remember that we can and then do it. But this is from October. And there's the wings again. And they come out different every time. It's cool. If it's not yours to hold, let it go. And I'm not particularly fond of the way this is, but I like parts of the background. I like the idea of this, and I didn't know how to draw still in this middle. I don't know why I keep doing people in the middle. I could move them over here, but I didn't. I don't know why. At any rate, I'm glad with how the cloak hoodie thing came out. Because yeah, I don't know how to draw clothes, really. It's very weird. Oh, I haven't finished this one either. Yeah, it's got gold, because teal and purple and just gold and just like what is that? That's art. Wait, I've got it here. I bet you. Yes, I do. Seedless preserves. So any of the like mulberry jams or that kind of color, that particular shade of purple or whatever. But yeah, that with the teal. Oh, I love it. And then you add gold, and I probably won't actually ever finish this one. I doubt I'll do anything more in this particular book. It's another swipe page. I'd done the background and came back. I didn't know what to do on the front. Came back one day and just threw down flowers and made them stupid drippy crazy. Because I didn't have any, well, I still don't have any ink. This is the only ink I had, and this thing is all gone, and I'm sad. Someday I will have all the inks ever made in all the colors, and I will use them all. Because I love splatter and drip. I can't even explain why. There's something so satisfying in doing that. And dripping it down the page, and spraying water and helping it down the page, and I don't know why, it's weird, but I love it. It makes my soul happy. Oh, this is one I was drawing on something else, and she just would not, I didn't get her. I can see now, she needed more jaw shape. It was weird. I was trying to draw one friend of ours, but it came out looking like a completely different friend of ours. But I did pixie ears, you know, because fairy pixie person. But yeah, it was the weirdest creepy thing. But yeah, swipey background. I'm not fond of this page at all. I mean, I'm glad that I gave that a go. But yeah, I don't know. I think the wing shape's all wrong. Everything was... I like individual things about it again, but not all the way it is altogether. I don't know. I don't know. This... Oh, I stuck those on. Yeah. I think that was the plastic technique, but with water paints on paper. I just throw down a couple different colors of watercolor while it's really, really wet. Throw your saran wrap, plastic wrap, cling wrap, whatever you want to call it, glad wrap on top, and scrunch it all everywhere, and then peel it off, which I should have left on lots longer than I did. But yeah, then out of that page, I cut out fish and just stuck them on here, and added glitter glue, as you do. This page, I love the mess of this page. The rest just look like crap. But this page, I couldn't sleep. As, you know, anybody who knows me, I don't do terribly often. But I was at, I think it was day 4 or day 5 of not sleeping more than half an hour. But my brain was just going and going and going in every direction, and I was exhausted. I physically exhausted from just my brain. So I sat down and just started throwing crap at this layer, or at this page. Everything I had, wasn't thinking about it, was just doing something to do to keep busy while I was still awake. And when I finally looked at it, it was this. It was an absolute glorious mess. And I was like, man, that's how my brain feels right now. That, if I could take a picture of what my brain feels like, this is what it is. This is what it looks like right now. So I wrote, my brain. And I've left it. And I absolutely love this page. And I probably ought not to. But yeah, that's how my brain felt. That's how my brain feels most of the time. It just goes and goes and goes. It's stupid fast. Oh, Galaxy, I overworked. Do you guys ever get so excited and so into what you're doing that you end up destroying it because you weren't paying any attention? Might just be me. I don't know. But yeah, I was doing Galaxy. And I was like, oh, a little more, a little more, a little more. Next thing I know, well, it's pretty much buggered. But it was a lot of fun. I got a better understanding of materials and how to use them for Galaxy. And I did learn that not all spray bottles are equal, because these are homemade ink gel sprays and watered down acrylic, which is part of the problem. Had I gone with just flicking paint, the white splatter would have looked way better. I could have done a little bit of the watered down spray in small areas and that would have been fine, but doing the whole thing in layers and layers was too much. And yeah, I was trying to do I don't know if you are into any of the pictures from space, from like the Hubble telescope or any of that, but totally get on NASA's website and check those out. They're gorgeous. But I was trying to do like the gaseous clouds that roll. It looks like they're rolling through space, and I didn't quite have that technique down, or I couldn't make it work the way that I wanted to. But I do need to revisit galaxies and that type of thing, because I do love doing them. Why did I do a giant mermaid with crazy hair? I've not... Oh! I bet that was watercolors. Watercolor crayons. That's what I was doing. I was on the phone. I had watercolor crayons in reach and a Sharpie. So that's what I used. And it's not the best picture, but who cares? This is one that I textured and then threw everything at, it looks like. I don't know why I stuck a pocket here. Like, I have no idea. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. I've got some glimmer shimmery stuff. I don't know if that's actually a shimmer spray or, so, no, actually, no. No, I bet that's this bad boy. The brushed pewter distress stain. I bet it is. Well, it's pretty, whatever it is. What did I write? Believe. Okay, so random pocket for no apparent reason. And this was done, just put on your ink and blow through a straw to push it all around. And yeah, I have no idea. See, again, all the colors, I like all the colors. I don't like the way that I put them on the page. How interesting is that, though? Huh. Oh, this was another one because I'm seriously obsessed. And by this part of the book, it's like, doesn't want to open right, didn't want to lay flat because I messed up the spine by doing that. So yeah, I had like this much of the page I could work with, or that I was willing to work with. But yeah, just layers and layers and layers and layers, and just dabbing and this, that, and the other. I think there was one I tried with a paintbrush. The other one was with my fingers, sprays, and the makeup foam triangle things. But this one, most of it looks like sprays and paintbrush. Lots of feathery looking things. So yeah, still there's crazy pieces in here that really do look good. Just I didn't execute it quite the way I wanted to. But after flipping back through it, these two white dots more than anything else on this page just really grabbed my eye. So I thought it'd be funny to do "You Are Here," like there, out of all of that. Yeah. Still don't know why I went with that. I think I was still in that phase where it's got to have something. It can't just be that. And this started as a Save the Paint page, so it's got weird color combinations on it to start with. And then, yeah, I just slapped random stuff on it, and I love it. This I could probably do without. I think. Yeah. Well, this is when I had the little bitty, I think they're the Tim Holtz Mr. Spray bottle things. I don't know if I used it on it. No, I didn't. But I used distress paints through the little tiny little spray bottle things. That's how I got these. And yeah, they're, oh, too much fun. Too much fun. Still haven't finished this page. I haven't even sealed. Actually, I should probably do that so they don't crack. Yep, like that. Yeah, I need to seal because I use wool putty as texture paste. One, because it's crazy cheap, and two, because I always have some in the house. You just should. The only thing is, it will soak up colors if you don't seal it first, and you have to seal it, but matte gel medium will prevent it from cracking. So this will, oh, don't get it too far because it'll break and pop off. But once I seal this, I can bend the page, I can roll the page, and it's fine. Yeah, I don't know what I did. Oh, maybe that's what I just saw. Have you ever looked at linoleum long enough, you start seeing patterns in it and things in it? That's what this was. So, yeah. Oh. It's another one with the crazy, I don't even know what all that is. Anyhow. Let's see. It's fortitude, fierce, breathe, heart, Be brave, wisdom. There's a bunch of writing in the background. I have no idea what was going on this day. This is also October. Man, I can bang out pages when I need to, huh? Wild Justice. Yeah, I'm going to say something with the kids or grandkids. At any rate, apparently I got it out of my system. I don't remember specifically what was going on. And, you know, this is fun and this is fun, but I don't like, well, I don't like her at all. And I don't like the way the background's done. So I would do something similar, but it would look very different now, I think. This page I love. Look, you can go, that's what I love about art journals. And the people that try and do art journals that they love every page, I think that's a fool's errand. For me personally, I don't think that will ever happen, and I think it's more damaging to try and do that, because I gave up trying art for so long because it wasn't good enough. I couldn't do it. It was ugly, blah, 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 blah. All those things that we tell ourselves, right? Now, I can have just a train wreck of a page, right? Obviously, not my best page. And the very next page is something that I love, which is what your art journal's all about. It doesn't matter if anybody else likes this page or not. I absolutely love this page. I love everything about it. But you can have train wreck, page you love, page that you just don't like at all. Okay, I can't say at all. I love the background. I don't like this. Well, I like the same. I don't like the way I did it. Black acrylic through stencil for texture, which is really fun, by the way. It was a heavy-bodied acrylic, so it does its own texture on the spray colored and stained background. And then, for whatever reason, I threw her on it. And I'm not a fan of this page at all. She ruined it for me, even though it is an art therapy piece. I've got writing in the background there again. Oh, that's from August. Yeah. But anyway, train wreck. Page I love. Adore this page. Train wreck again. Page I really like. Well, I love the background. The background is amazing. This part's okay. It's alright. But I love the background. Like, I probably should have just left it. But I was starting to get, it was background for ages and ages and ages, as was the one that I love. That was background for ages and ages and ages. It was so pretty, I didn't want to mess it up. But it was just background. Let's see. Same as this one. I didn't want to do anything with it, so I stopped where I was at and just stuck this on here, which is fine. I like this. But I love the background. It's not finished. It doesn't feel finished to me, but it could be, and that's okay as well. But yeah, doing spray inks, just best backgrounds. Well, I can't say ever. There's lots of ways to do backgrounds that I really enjoy. But I love the way that they look. And the gel spray inks that I made, the homemade, from the Wilton concentrated color, these are in cake decorating, whatever. You find it in Walmart and Hobby Lobby down the cake decorating aisle. They're concentrated colors. They're gel colors. They're a little bit pricey, but they go a really long way for making homemade sprays. Put a little bit in some water in a spray bottle. Actually, I think I have some. There's one. There's one. Oh, I need to shake it up again. But yeah, just chuck it in there, chuck in some water and some alcohol, just to make sure it doesn't, being that it is a food product, I was worried about it going bad or something. Just sitting, it looks like it's got some sediment, but it is concentrated color, so that's likely to happen anyway. But I love these. These are a great beginner DIY thing. So yeah, I still don't have, I just made my new set of Sharpie alcohol inks, because yeah, again, the only ink that I had was this one, and let's see, it took me a year to use it. I was trying really hard not to use it too terribly much, but once I got started, that was it. It was too much fun. So I desperately need to get actual inks. Until then, however, the homemade stuff does work just fine. But the gel ink actually worked spraying through a stencil. So I sprayed this one, and then just take the stencil, flip it over this side. So I've got negative and positive spaces, right? I did the same thing here. This is the only spray that I've used, that the ink sprays that I've used, that works on through the stencil as well as this. I don't know why. I just know that it is. Okay, I am taking way too long to get through this. Again, I love this bit. It's too small for this page, but I love this bit. I like her flowers. I like her little dangly hats that represent certain people. I love the wake up, the Matrix has you, and find your truth. I love the background, splash and spray and stain and all of that. I don't like the way I did her. I don't know if it was in a rush, or I just didn't care, or I was mad. So when is that from? August. No, it's probably mad, actually. Which is why it's got, okay, never mind. But yeah, and I put this on social media and people thought it was great, and it's weird because I didn't like it. I was like, okay, whatever. This one I like. I like it a lot. I wrote, you are many things, but broken isn't one of them. So yeah. Again, all the ink sprays, the homemade gel food ink sprays, and then just sprayed with water and let the water take off some of the color. Love that. Could spend days doing that. Oh, I need to finish this one. But yeah, happiness is us. Love, laughter, hugs, kisses, home sweet home, good times, fun. Cause yeah. And this is us from our friend's wedding. And I'm so bummed. My printer was being a turd. Actually, I have a newer printer, but it's currently being a turd. I swear I can't use electronics. They don't like me at all. But, yeah, the print had made that all stripy. But the good news is, I guess, it did it throughout. So it looks like the whole picture was supposed to be that way. But, yeah, that's okay, though. I need to finish that. More just random test page and using PVA glue just to see, and that was to see how it went with the spray inks again. But yeah, gel spray inks, food gel spray inks, love them. Swipe lazy background page. I didn't know what else to do. Actually, I think that one stayed that way for a while as well. And then I got a new stamp, so I put that on there because hummingbirds are amazing. And these stamps are cool. They've got tiny little flowers in here, and it's got the hummingbird, but if you look really close, there's a butterfly here and a butterfly there. See that? How clever is that? And the other ones from that set, got one that looks like a dragonfly, but if you look at the center, it's a fairy. And the butterfly has several fairies built into the wings, like this. It's just, they're gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Oh, that was another one I put up on Instagram or somewhere, and everybody loved these flowers, and I didn't understand why, because I just was like, well, I have a little bit of paint, so I'm just going to flick it all around. And I didn't try. That's just how they went. This is from goodie package that my Aunt Kathy sent me, and actually I think this is when my daughter Sam was visiting with family back in Australia as well, and they sent goodie bags, like a huge goodie box, and I had to save these. Though I used, I believe, Mod Podge, because this feels like plastic, like as much as the wrapper does. So I'm going to have to try a different glue for this. Again, I don't think I had any matte gel medium at this particular point. I'm still, even now, even though I've got, you know, a couple of brand name items or whatever, I still have a budget. I still have to work with a shoestring budget, so I do. And thankfully I have amazing family and friends who support my learning how to art. So, like for birthdays and stuff, I get art stuff, and it's awesome. What is this page? Oh, Joanne sent me these in the first set of Happy Mail she ever sent me. They're napkins, and they had peacocks on them. And I loved this when I first started, and then I ended up all mad, and there was writing over it on this side, and I did that, and then I had to tie in something here because it all looked weird. I think I still have a couple of these. If not, I know Tuesday Morning still has them, so I will have to do something far prettier and definitely worthy of these peacock napkins. They've got beautiful writing in the background and these fancy peacocks and all the flowers. They're gorgeous. And yeah, I haven't even trimmed this page. How terrible is that? Oh well, texture we'll call it. Oh, we're almost near the end. Okay. No idea where I was going with this one. And it's way not as it should be. Oh, this might have been a wee hours of the morning doodle. Before I had my daylight lamp and everything, I would just use the lights. Hang on. It's gonna get dark. So this is how I used to doodle. I have lights, little Christmas lights hanging off the curtain rod. This is how I used to doodle at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And you adjust, you can see well enough, right? I wouldn't want to do detail work or anything, but it's okay. Okay, Lite. I think this is one of those pieces. Well, many of these are pieces like that. She had fire, looks like fire in her eyes. She was looking at fire. But yeah, not finished, not detailed. I don't even know. This is one of the quirky birds similar to Tamara Laporte. She does amazing quirky birds. And I'm not very good at whimsical or quirky and cutesy, it turns out. I know why, and it's something I may or may not be able to get under control. But at least I understand why now. But, yeah, that was a quirky bird. And, yeah, just practice. I need way more practice. This should be something that you can do, and my mind starts to wander, so I end up going the wrong direction. And it does matter. This is my favorite part of this entire practice page. Let's see. No, that's my, that's definitely the better chunk. Just this shape, size comparison, where it's fat, where it's skinny. This one needs work, but it's okay. This one I freaking love. And it's not even finished, but that's okay. This is the best one. Excuse me. Oh yeah! I was doing flame practice some more, as you do. Realized they came out all exactly the same, and it was crap, and I couldn't be bothered erasing it. So I started a different doodle. And when I looked at it, it reminded me of there's an image, scribble, doodle, I don't even know what you'd call it, of John Lennon. Reminded me of that, so I drew the glasses on him and left it like that because it was great. And I don't remember where I got this from. Speak your truth until it sets the world on fire. The right people will take notice. I don't know. But yeah, that was an accidental John Lennon type doodle. And, well, it just made me happy because that was cool. Oh, I didn't finish this. Yeah, this is a big emotional piece that I really need to do and get done. I can't do it yet. So when I get there, I might come back and show you. I don't know. But this is my poor second art journal. Look at it's huge. And yeah, I think I'm going to look at that. This too is something I learned when you work from front to back. This is what your books start doing. See how the pages you use, you can get paint way down in there, but as you go through the book you just can't anymore. So you're wasting space, you're wasting real estate that you could have had beautiful. But whatever, I'm probably going to cut this off and then punch these. I don't know if I want to, well no, I have to see, what is it, 9.5 by 12. Maybe I'll put it in a big scrapbook, like plastic covered, because it's going to have to be bigger than regular binder sheets if I do it that way. But I might be able to put it in a 12 by 12 and, you know, make crazy funky frame or something for it where it needs it. I don't know. If I get that far, I will update and just tack it into this one or something. But that is my second ever, technically second and third, journal and a half art journal. Yeah, I guess that's it. I'm sorry it took so long. I forgot I had so much in here. It's crazy. But go back through your art journals. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, so sad. Some of these are cute, and some of them are just a mess. I will try and track down all the links for you for Marta's channel. It's Maremi's Small Art, I believe. And for Tamara Laporte's course. She's with Willow Wing. Anywhere you look for Willow Wing, you'll find Tamara Laporte artwork. And she is a blessing, I swear. She's a blessing to the art journal community. Well, she's a blessing to the planet. She's just one of those people that are amazing. So I will definitely stick the link to this course. It's a free course. And I didn't have any, you know, I drew stick figures before I started this one, pretty much. Like, pretty much, honestly. Let's see. I don't have a date on that one. I have one. That was May. Yeah, I did all of those lessons in May of 2016. But after those, let's see. No, wait. Because I came back and did this one. This was May 23rd. Let's see. No, I didn't write the actual. No, I just wrote May. Dang it. I believe I came back and did this one after this. Because these came from a different book. So that's cool. Anyhow, go back through your old art journals and see how far you've come. What if you did a specific page over again now, what would you do different? How would it turn out different? And I'm thinking about challenging myself so far as picking a page and going, well, yeah, I like it, but how would I do it now? One, I don't know if that's even possible, because half of these, they're just intuitive art pieces, so I may not be able to do it again anyway. But if I did, what would it look like now? So if I kept like the flower idea, say, just take one element, so the flowers, okay, I want to use those flowers again. What background does it need now? Blah, blah, blah. So I might do that. I don't know yet. I have so many other projects I'm working on and about to work on. But yeah. Yeah, I'm going to leave it here. Let me know what you thought or how your art journal journey is coming along, and how many journals do you have? That's a question I always wonder. How many journals do you have? I have several sitting down here that are mostly just sketchbooks, and I just sketch and flip through, and I never go back and finish those. I don't know if that's a good thing to do or not. But how many art journals, finished or not, do you have? I'm really curious to know, and if you have any pictures of them or videos of your art journals, I'd love to see them. So hit me up in the comments below so I can check out your work too and support you guys. I thank you for your time. Like, subscribe, ring my bell, share, all of the YouTube things. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and come hang out with me another time. Okay. Love you. Bye.